Well, now it's about a little past 12:30, and I think we can say, because of the failure to make a new high, that if we are going to continue on down, we will likely then this afternoon, much later, wind up heading down in this direction of 84. I think that's really quite possible. And the short is really going to start taking hold here, particularly if we manage to move back to 89, 82, and this is on the INX, of course, or even just a little bit below that. And again, as we mentioned, try to spend some time in here. If we do that, short it with the intent of 84.72 being a target. So that's our late morning call. Look for the short and write it down to a low late this afternoon. It appears as if we're in a red day pattern at the moment with lows in the last half hour. Now here we are, right up there to the POC once again. And so we can anticipate that this will likely, even now, begin to come down. So there we are, right in there. And a big move down rather quickly. So we're short. Now as we see this market moving down, and just look at the area up here at 80, looks like 87, looks like 88. Okay. Yeah. Now, premium moved up here, and we got this little move up, but now look at what's happened here. We're not managing to get any higher, so we might be able to, to pop back up here to 88, maybe 88 and a quarter. And yet this is still a good place to be shorting it. Because we could easily see this continue to move back down now. And as we look at the profile of the INX, there's just a little bit of an area of correction in there. Let's expand this out even more. Yeah, it could be right in here. But we've taken a short in any case, but are prepared to get short even beyond that. But a failure to get up that high, again, is a good indication that this thing will continue on down. It might make it, but I'm not waiting for that to happen. We're short. going down. Broke right through these levels, and we're heading down. So now is where, you know, this, again, given where we've been, it would seem reasonable that we may spend even some more time. But this big drop, let's take a look at the premium, because that's important. Now, if the premium didn't really tank in here, let's reset that. Yeah, premium dropped a little bit here. But didn't really break that level here associated with this threshold, this lower threshold. I would expect us to probably not see another big drop unless we bolt below the 86 level. Then we may begin to see the premium drop below that. So here we are at the POC of 86, and keeping in mind we went down to 84.25 at the low, which was right in there, and we still have that area to repair. That 82.50, that looks very attainable. And just a quarter of a point below that is the projected low based on the IB. And Fridays have an 83% chance of hitting that. So that's pretty good. So that's what we're expecting. Okay, so we did come down to the low value area, came right back up to the upper value area, coming back down now to the TPOC. It's kind of what we would expect, but by the same token, if this thing is going to tank, it better get to it. And during the last 45 minutes, which is about what we've got here, that's entirely possible. So let's keep close watch. Now, I just drew a trend line just to see, and you know, we broke through that, but now we're coming back down. if we bounce off of this and then continue to go back up, well, that might be a little different situation, but I certainly don't see us at this stage. The pattern, it just wouldn't stand a reason. It really would not stand a reason that the high for the day is yet to remain. Because if this was the low, then the high should have already been. It hasn't been. That's not the case here. Now, the overall trend based on pattern continues to be short. And particularly so since we failed to move into a new high and only managed to get back to the initial balance here. So I'm expecting a rather rapid sell-off here over the next 45 minutes. That would be based on pattern. Red day pattern down, lows of the day or in the last half hour, and quite often right into the close. So that's what the pattern says. We will see. While the pattern to this day, we can't say that it has changed. The fact, though, as we moved up here to this last high at 88.50, and the little high on the premium here at 210 might cause us to think that this is just going to go back up. And it might. Keep in mind, as we've mentioned before, when the INX is at a lower high, and this is an equal high, it's going to cause the premium to move up. Okay? So in a sense, the INX is divergent because it's at a lower high when we're at an equal high. So don't let that mislead you into thinking, well, we ought to just give up on this short. This is divergent. We've seen this before. We've talked about it. So don't let that mislead you. Now, is it possible that this will turn around and continue on up? Yeah, it's possible. It's not going to hit a new high for the day. That would be, well, that would be extremely unlikely. It could, but very, very unlikely. No, the probability is still in the next 15 minutes to half an hour that this will continue to drop, because that's the pattern. So just wanted to make a little note of that, just in case you go back and you look at this and you wonder. All right, come back. Well, it's looking good, but here we are at this support level. Now, are the sellers going to take over? Well, oddly enough here, as much as we have tried to move down and managed to get fairly close, this thing has turned right around and started going back up. Big move up. And in a very short period of time, 3 points up. And there you have it. So they did not take it down. In spite of what the premium is doing, we've got some program, it looks like some program buying is going on here. in the last really last 20 minutes. It could come back down, but I think we have to acknowledge the fact that the direction that this market is taking it cannot be ignored. That's the way it goes. But we'll keep track, and we'll come back here and see if this continues on up. It would be very surprising if it did. It certainly isn't going to make it. I cannot even imagine that it would make it way back up to the high. But this was a pretty robust move, and very surprising at that. Of course, as it came down here, you had to look at that carefully. Now let's just recalculate that just in case. No, it's 278. So just a little bit higher, but it wasn't lower. Should have been lower. But kaboom, it went. So could we come straight back down? Oh, anything is possible, but I think at this point we need to just really tighten the stop and make sure we don't lose anything off of that trade. As much as it has moved, we don't really have much in the trade anymore. We're still short, but it's not looking very promising. Now, of course, what could have happened here, just come to think of it, what could have happened here is that all of your sellers down here may have been trailing their stops, and as a result of those stops getting taken out, it pushed us forward, giving us a false sense of a rally. That would make sense. And after the majority are stopped out, this thing turns right around and comes back down. That's entirely possible, now that I think of it. Yep. Oh, what do you know? Mm-hmm. We're still short. I mean, I just left my stop up at 88.25. I mean, I said this is either going to work or it's not. And now earlier in the day, I don't always play it that way, but here late in the day, I'm saying to myself, it's either going to work or it's not. And I'm kind of inclined to think that it might be worthwhile just going ahead and taking some profits and leave something on the table. But anyway, we'll give this a little bit more time, see what happens. Okay, well, it does appear as if the buyers took over. As we have really no more time left for the day. So, that's what happens. All right, that finishes our video. I'm Rod Kusin, Spooman for Risk.